What's up, YouTubers? Brandon here with Beard Guy EDC. If you guys haven't tuned in before, we do EDC content here, a lot of knife reviews, flashlight reviews, some general knife talk, and yeah, anything to do with gear and EDC we like to talk about on this channel. And if you guys have any suggestions of something we can feature on here, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, we're gonna jump on into this video. Today, I'm gonna be talking about handle materials with you guys. So there's a lot of different handle materials out there. We're only going to be going through a couple of those. I picked out, I think, 10 different knives from my collection. So not a whole big selection of handle materials, just a few different ones that maybe I want to talk about with you guys and let you know my thoughts on them and how they fit into my EDC rotation. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. As I said, we're just going to do a quick rundown on each knife, talk about the handle material and what I might use it for, and just my overall thoughts of the handle material and what it feels like in the hand and the ergos. That's very important to me, how a knife feels in the hand. If a knife isn't comfortable in your hand, you're not going to enjoy it. If it's slippery or if it has some hot spots, it's not going to be a knife that you're going to carry every day. Now, we can hop on in this video for you guys, and I'm going to run down through all these knives, and I really hope you guys enjoy the content and everything that I've done thus far. Make sure you tune in for more. There's going to be lots more content coming, and as always, enjoy the video. Okay, YouTubers, let's pop in here and have a little chat about handle materials. So I got about 10 blades there in front of you guys right now, and I'm just going to run down through and talk a little bit about the handle material of each of these knives and the pros and cons, maybe the reasons I'd be more inclined to carry something with that handle material and their intended use or maybe what they're suited best for. So without rambling on for too long, let's just jump on in and grab one of these knives and I'll talk about the handle material a bit for you guys. I'll start off with one of my personal favorites. It's lightweight, super durable, got some great grip to it, some great traction in the hand, and that's going to be good old G10. So this ZTO350 here is fitted with G10 handle scales, as well as a G10 backspacer there, and stainless steel liners. So the advantage of this is you get a lightweight handle. It's not super heavy, even though this knife is a tank, has a lot of heavy materials. The handle scales are definitely going to help cut back on some of that weight and make this knife a bit more manageable. As I said, G10 is super grippy. This is also a very textured handle. If you can't see that, it's you can hear it for sure. Super textured. And yeah, it feels really grippy in the hand. You can get a solid lockdown on it. The jimping is great on the back. G10 for me is one of my most carried handle materials. It's just, like I said, I find it super durable. I like black G10 because it's just easy to maintain, doesn't get super dirty. And G10 for me is just, like I said, it's lightweight, it's great, and it does pretty much everything you want it to do. G10 itself is a composite material. It's actually made using a resin and fiberglass fabric. So using the resin and fiberglass fabric, it's then subjected to a shit ton of pressure, and that produces a very hard, very durable material. G10 is very similar to micarta, which is on this Civivi Elementum Tanto. So micarta is typically used with natural materials. So unlike the synthetic fibers that you're going to find in G10, micarta is usually made with linen or burlap, something of that sort, but also, again, with the resin and pressed. So micarta is a bit older. It's been around for 100 years or so. G10 is a relatively new material, as it's a synthetic version of micarta, basically. But micarta is, in my opinion, not quite as textured as G10, so it can sometimes be a bit smooth. This one's a little bit rough compared to my Penguin, which I don't have out here to show you guys. But the QSP Penguin is more of a glossy micarta. This is definitely more of a canvas micarta, so it's got a bit more of a grip to it. Still not as grippy as the G10, but it is a great handle material. The downside about micarta is that the scales will get dirty quickly and they absorb oils from your hand and dirt and all that gunk. So you'll get what some people refer to as a patina on micarta. To me, it's not a big deal. I kind of wear it like patina. I kind of let the knife wear it like a patina. I let it kind of get its own little dirt groove going, and it kind of makes the knife individual to you because you got patterns on it and stuff from the way that you hold it and where your oils and stuff get into it. I do like to clean it off once in a while. I'll just use some rubbing alcohol and just give it a good wipe down and get all the gunk out of those pores, and it usually gives it a nice cleanup. So micarta, again, is pretty lightweight, as well as G10. A great handle material, pretty durable, and it's used on a lot of knives. I definitely carry, like I said, 2 or 3 knives with micarta on it. It's a great handle material. This technically falls under G10 as well, but I just like the natural look of G10. I want to classify natural or JG10 under its own category just because it's so translucent and just different than a regular G10 that is dyed and colored. So natural G10 to me is usually a bit smoother. It's not as textured as colored G10. Now I'm sure you can get it where they are textured. It's a little textured on the outside there, but it's still relatively smooth, not quite as grippy as your traditional G10 there. But I thought I'd throw natural G10 into the loop just to show you guys what it can look like. This is the only knife I have right now in a jade or natural G10, but I do love it. Like I said, it is a bit smooth for me, but you can still get some traction on it. It's not terrible. Same thing as G10, it's going to be lightweight, save a bit of weight on handled material. Great material for EDC use. It's pretty tough, as well as any other G10, but like I said, you're going to be getting some staining and stuff like that with the natural G10. It's going to pick up colors and dirt a lot easier than something with, say, a black G10, which is usually my go-to. Sticking with the plastics and composites, we're going to jump up to Benchmade's Grivery next. So Grivery is very similar to FRN, also known as fiber reinforced nylon. So it's just a injection molded plastic. Micarta and G10 are not injection molded, they're actually machined. So you would make these in a plate of micarta, and you would just machine it to whatever shape you need. Grivery, however, is an injected molded plastic. It's definitely not as porous, and it doesn't hold on to stains or anything like that like a G10 would. So this is a white knife, and I use it a fair bit, and it's still fairly white. Yeah, there is some browning here. I haven't cleaned it in a little while, but when I want to clean it, I'll just take some rubbing alcohol on a cloth, give it a flick over, and it's usually good to go after that. It's super easy to clean and maintain. Like G10, it's super hard and durable. It's going to have a bit more flex to it than G10. G10 is definitely a bit more rigid, but Grivery is definitely a very nice handle material, super lightweight. This knife here weighs less than 2 ounces, so very, very light. And like I said, it is also a durable material, similar to G10. Grivery feels very similar to the FRN used on this Honey Badger. So this is actual fiber reinforced nylon, which is just nylon plastic with little glass fibers put into this to just increase the rigidity and make it a bit stronger so it's less likely to break. And yeah, it just makes it a bit tougher. The texture on this one's great because FRN is usually a bit slippery, but the Honey Badger did a good job with putting a good deep texture into those scales. So you can definitely get a bit of traction on it, though it is a inherently slippery material. It does have some jimping and stuff like that just to kind of give you some spots where you can lock down on it. So it's not terrible for the ergos, but like Grivery, it is a little bit of a slippery material. So you might want to keep that in mind if you're looking at FRN or a Grivery or anything like that. That injection molded plastics tend to be a little bit slipperier than something that's machined like G10. So although I'd categorize them all in a similar category, the G10 is going to be a bit more durable and it's a bit more expensive to make, but in my opinion it's worth it for EDC carry because it's a bit tougher and it's just going to stand up to more abuse. Coming up next, we're going to be taking a look at carbon fiber. So I have my Concept Prickle here, and this guy has carbon fiber scales and an S35VN blade, all black, very nice. Carbon fiber in itself is a very lightweight and super durable material. It's often compared to steel with its tensile strength. So carbon fiber is a super sturdy handle material. The problem with carbon fiber is that it is a bit pricey. So if you want a good handle material at a budget price, stick with the G10 or something like that. If you want something a bit more premium, a bit more flashy, that's more of a gentlemanly carry, something that's going to look really nice and start a conversation, carbon fiber is definitely a great option for that. Also, it does hold up super well to abuse. This carbon fiber is laminated and a bit shiny, so it's not super grippy. And that's one of my only cons with this Concept Prickle, is that it doesn't really give you a lot to hold on to. So it can get a bit slippery in the hand. There's a ton of jimping on the back there though, which does help with that. So you can kind of lock down on it, as well as that cutout for the liner lock. So you do have somewhere to kind of anchor down on, but it would be nice if it had some texture and was maybe a little bit less polished and shiny. So carbon fiber, like I said, super lightweight, super tough, definitely a little bit better than G10, but you will notice it in the price. It's definitely reflected. Carbon fiber is usually going to run you a bit more than G10 because it is a more premium material. But as long as you're willing to shell out the dough, it feels great in the hand, minus the bit of slip from this guy. But with the Tucson here, the carbon fiber is marbled and it's not so laminated or polished. So it definitely has a bit more texture to it and a bit more grip. So it's not so bad as the carbon fiber on this guy. But this knife here, we're actually going to talk about the handle material, which is titanium. So we're moving from the plastics and the composites into the metal handles now. I kind of have these organized a little bit, sectioned off. So the TS255 Relentless is rocking titanium handles with carbon fiber inlays. So with those inlays, they fit into the titanium scales super nicely, and they just give you a more premium look to the knife. And it does shave off a bit of weight by cutting out some of that titanium and putting the carbon fiber in there. Though titanium is a super lightweight handle material, obviously carbon fiber is going to be a bit lighter. So milling out that cutout there and having the inlay of carbon fiber does definitely save a bit of weight there. And the ergos on this knife are gorgeous. It fits nicely in the hand. It feels great. Super buttery smooth action. The TS255 is a beautiful demonstration of titanium and how nice it can look with that titanium pocket clip there as well, stainless steel hardware, 14C28N blade. All in all, it is a beautiful knife. It's a little bit humid out here in my garage right now, so we're getting some fog going on the blade there, but that's no odds. Just hot and sticky, that's all. So titanium, super lightweight. It's definitely stronger than any of these plastic materials, and you don't require a liner, so there's no stainless steel liner in here, which does save on weight as well, because you just have your titanium handle scale. And titanium is inherently a bit harder than steel usually. So with the trade-off of being hard, it does get more brittle. And if you drop it on concrete or something, it might be more likely to chip. But for me, titanium is a beautiful handle material. I wouldn't use it on a super hard user knife because it gets snail trails and stuff like that really easy. But it is beautiful and it is nice for a showpiece. And if you don't mind having a few scratches or snail trails on your handles, then yes, it is great for hard use because it's not going to chip up too bad on you or anything like that. It is certainly a tough material. And one of the more expensive handle materials you can have is titanium, but it is definitely well worth it because of the weight you save and how strong the metal actually is. It's super lightweight, as well as the carbon fiber reduces that even more. Beautiful knife overall. Next, we're going to be looking at the Crkt Outrage, and this guy has aluminum handles. Again, you don't have the need for a stainless steel liner, but in this knife we actually do kind of have a half liner in there. So it does use liners on this guy because the aluminum is a bit soft, and it is light, so that is a plus too. It is, I'm not going to say it's a super lightweight knife. It's nowhere near compared to the Benchmade or the Honey Badger or anything like that, but for a knife with metal handles, it definitely doesn't feel heavy at all. It's a very lightweight, nice balanced knife. And to me, aluminum, it can sometimes feel cheap, but the way they have these mill outs in here and the texture, it doesn't feel like a cheap knife at all. It just feels like your average run-of-the-mill EDC knife. Definitely a unique blade shape going on here with this guy. Very nice. But yeah, the aluminum scales are nice. They hold up well. There's a few little scratches and stuff on it in the anodizing. One of the beauties of aluminum as well as titanium is that you can anodize them and modify them. You just either apply heat via a torch, or you can apply electricity through electrolysis, and yeah, you can anodize titanium relatively easy, and you can modify your knives and change the color. So the titanium and the aluminum, you can anodize and easily modify, and just adds your own little touch to your knife and make it yours. But moving on, we're going to move on to some alloys now. So these alloys are, we have brass right here, and we have copper right here. The Artisan Cutlery Osprey is a super heavy knife, a chunk with that big chunk of D2 steel there, something on the blade. But it's very heavy. It has stainless steel liners that are pretty thick there, as well as the the brass scales. But for me, I like brass and copper because they do oxidize and they do patina. And you can definitely see some pitting and some nice little colors and stuff that are shining through on this guy. So I really like the look of the patina that you get from brass. And all in all, that's the main reason I would carry brass or copper or any other alloy like that. So the downside of brass is that although it looks really pretty and it feels kind of cool in the hand, it is heavy and it's going to add a lot of weight to your knife. This is like a 7 or 8 ounce knife. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but it's very heavy. And the size of the blade doesn't help, let's get real. But the handle material is also an added weight, but for me it's worth it. This is a beautiful knife. This is one of the knives that got me into buying more premium knives. Just because I liked the handle, I thought it was cool, and I liked the blade shape. Picked this guy up, and I found out that I love metal handles. So, we also have copper here. This is a Civivi Backlash. This is in copper with a Damascus blade. A beautiful knife. Copper is inherently a bit darker than brass, and it tends to patina a lot more brown, but you don't get so many of those colors shine through. Just imagine a penny. So you kind of get that patina come through that a penny's going to get. And a lot of people like to do what's called a shipwreck. So you'd add a form of acid to the blade to oxidize it faster. And, it can look really cool. So for me, I like to clean off my patina once in a while. I just like to keep the knife clean. That's just my personal preference. I don't like to clean the patina all the time. I do let it build up a little bit in between cleanings, just because it does look kind of cool. In my opinion, one of the main advantages of metal handles is the sound, like just the thwack when it opens and when it closes. Listen. I just love that little hollow metal noise. It sounds really cool to me. Not as clicky as with a G10 or any other plastic variant of handle scales. It just doesn't resonate the same. So having a metal handle scale definitely does give you that nice little sound. And as well as the Artisan, I'm not going to lie, this Backlash is pretty heavy with the copper scales. My little brother actually has the same knife, but with G10. And the G10 version is like way lighter. It's apples to oranges. But the copper is beautiful, and it's definitely a nice trade-off. I freaking love this guy. The copper looks awesome. The Damascus paired with it looks beautiful. The jimping gives you something to hold on to. Metal scales aren't usually too grippy, but they do have some milling in there. So you can see, you can definitely grab onto that, and it will stay nice in your hand. Definitely has some texture there with the jimping and along the edges there. So it doesn't give you any hot spots or anything like that, but it is definitely a little bit less smooth and easier to hold on to. So that's the Civivi Backlash in copper. And that's just a little quick rundown of some of my favorite handle materials. Obviously there's other materials. There's wood and a lot of other natural materials like bone and stuff like that. I could include a plethora of handle materials. I just thought I'd show you guys 10 knives and some of the handle materials that I like to carry in my EDC rotation. Some of the knives that I love, and like I said, a G10 is going to be more of a hard worker for me because it's pretty durable and it's super light, not a lot of pocket real estate. It feels a lot better in the pocket than, say, the Artisan Cutlery with all that brass. Having said that, a nice titanium knife, if you're willing to use it hard, will definitely put in the work for you. You just have to be willing to open up your wallet to the price of the titanium, and it gives you some cool options for colors, for modification. But in saying that, with plastic knives, if you have any bit of skill, this handle scale here used to be tan, and the backspacer was also tan. I dyed the backspacer purple, and I dyed the handles green using RIT dye, or RIT dye more, I should say. It's synthetic dye. You just boil that up and drop the material in it and let it soak for a bit in boiling water, and there you have it. Nice modified handles. So titanium and aluminum aren't the only handle material you can modify the color with. But it's definitely easier to anodize than it is to dye. It's a little bit of prep work and stuff involved. And overall, I love all of these knives, but I definitely would be more inclined to use something with a nice textured handle because you can really lock down on it more and won't be so scared that the knife's going to come out of your hand if you're doing any super hard use tasks. So all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely got a lot more content coming your way. Sorry about last week. Things were a little bit busy and I lost some of my content, so I didn't get a video up last week. But I'm going to be trying to get one up every week coming in the future. Let's jump into my pocket dump for the day. I've got about 10 knives out here, so I'm only carrying one knife on me today. Start with the knife, I guess. I have the rake. P801 SF with nice blue hardware. Rocking stainless steel handles, so similar to other metal handles, but it is going to be a bit heavier where it is stainless steel. But again, you don't have the need for a liner, you just have the handle. So the rake P801 SF is a beautiful EDC knife. It's going to do a lot of tasks for you with the 14C28N blade, same as that Tucson there. A wonderful blade material, wonderful handle material, great knife overall. My light for the day is the Olight i3T EOS. Super nice light, super lightweight, easy to carry in the pocket. And I got my wallet on me today, my Travax Armored Summit, made in the USA with an OD green strap. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this knife talk, just chatting about some different handle materials, showing you guys a couple different blades. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button, and definitely comment and let me know what you guys want to see in the upcoming videos. As always, have a great day and take her easy.